with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. Alright, where are we at? I'm fucking not into it today. Some days I'm into it. Today is not one of those days. Even yesterday wasn't really one of those days either. Before I started the podcast yesterday, I started getting like serotonin spikes in like the base of my spine or base of my neck. Just thinking about the podcast being over and not having to think about it. I don't mean over completely, although that does give me tingles too. I mean over for that day so I could just fucking kick back and do nothing. I really don't feel like fucking making anything I did today sound interesting. I just went to the gym, went to the library, did fuck all. I feel like a cigarette. I feel like a fucking drink, to be honest with you. I tell you what, a couple of days ago, my wife was drinking wine out of my coffee cups. And usually I'll leave a little bit of tea at the bottom. And when I go to make my next tea, I'll fucking slam what's left and then make a tea. And I picked up a coffee cup that was just fucking lying around. And for some reason, I looked in it instead of just slamming it. And I'm like, that doesn't look like fucking tea. And I smelt it and it was fucking wine. And I'm like, why? Why the fuck are you drinking wine out of my coffee cup for starters? And also, I fucking wish I didn't look in that coffee cup. I could have had a cheeky wine without the guilt. But ever since then, I've been looking at my glasses and just going, fuck, I wish this wasn't a tea. I wish this was a fucking wine. You know, sometimes you just can't be fucking bothered. It's strange, actually, because nothing particular has gone on recently, but I kind of feel vulnerable. Like vulnerable to a relapse. A relapse? That sounds fucking retarded. I feel vulnerable to getting fucked up. And I've been trying to think what it is. And there's nothing in particular. I feel like I just fucking need to escape for a minute. It's probably a sign I need to get back into meditation, to be honest with you. Just an 8 or 9 hour break would be nice. Just to spend some time with old Boyle. Fucking my alter ego. Just have a few beers and go, hey, I remember you. What's been happening? I've been fucking repressing you for a while now, haven't I? How you been holding up? Feel like fucking some shit up? I'm down if you're down. It has been creeping into my mind lately. I've been like, I wasn't that bad on the drink, was I? Like, I actually kind of liked being drunk. I actually kind of liked who I was when I was drinking. Which isn't true. I did enjoy fucking just letting loose. That's how vulnerable I am at the moment. I'm like, I was actually pretty sweet when I was drinking. I didn't do that much wrong. I'm fucking being over dramatic. I could probably just go back to drinking. These are the periods where you just have to fucking grind it out. Just keep fucking going. It's just a little trough. This is where you need to step it up in other areas of your life. I need to start meditating again. I'll start doing morning pages again. I just went to the gym as well. I just got back from the fucking gym, so it's not the exercise thing. It's just a general I can't be fuckness at the moment. I tell you what I'm going to do. Usually in this stage, I drop right off. I just try and get through it. I try and grind through it by doing nothing. I'm going to try and get through it this time by doing things. What a fucking... What a revolutionary idea that is. Doing nothing hasn't worked up until this point. Maybe doing something might, which goes against every instinct I've ever had. So fuck it. In the morning, I'm just going to start meditating again. Fuck it. I'll do some fucking morning pages as well. That's it. I'm going to fight my way out of this shit. Maybe because it's Anzac Day tomorrow. That used to be my favorite day of the year. Just fucking unlicensed gambling and fucking booze all day. Get up in the morning and just start fucking hammering it. More like wake up already drunk from the fucking night before. Anyway, who gives a fuck? What are we doing today? We're doing a Ask Boyle. It's fucking Ask Boyle time. So if you have a question that you would like answered by one of the greatest fucking minds of the goddamn generation, then head to my website and send me in your question. There's a little section there for Ask Boyle. You can fill in your details, write the question in, or you can use the drunk dial feature. So someone sent one in the other day, but the audio hasn't come through properly. So if it was you, fucking resend it. Anyway, it's all at my website, boylecomedy.com. Let's get to this week's fucking Ask Boyle. So this week's Ask Boyle was sent in by the lovely, the wonderful Jennifer Ayen. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Fucking all the way over there in the US. And Jen's question is this. What is the source of America's mass shooter problems and how could it potentially be solved? Well, Jen, you have come to the right place. So I've just spent the first half of the podcast sounding like a fucking mass shooter. So this will be right up my alley. I don't think there's a fucking single source to this problem. For starters, there's a lot of guns. There's a lot of guns in the US. You can't deny that. Although I would be hesitant to take the guns away because you're probably going to need them to fight your government. Although you probably won't even end up fighting your government. You'll just fight each other and kill each other. So it's probably not even worth keeping them. But you're probably going to need them for some sort of revolution. Anyway, just look up the history of governments turning authoritarian or fascist or dictatorships, and then look up the history of revolutions and how they happen and occur. And you're probably going to want to keep your guns. But there is no denying there's a lot of fucking guns in the US, and that probably doesn't help with the mass shootings. I'm going to say it definitely doesn't help with the mass shootings, but mix that with like an epidemic of just absolute fucking no holds bar mental illness just fucking everywhere, ranging from like full blown schizophrenia to depression to just fucking nihilism and just a general aching despair of how things are going on at the moment. Mix that shit with the guns and it's probably not going to end up real good. And I think this is what perpetuates it the most is the media. The media coverage of the mass shootings is fucking criminal. They know that their coverage causes more mass shootings. 110 they know, because do you know why they don't even mention suicide or fucking cover the suicide epidemic in the media? Is because if they did, they would make the fucking suicide epidemic worse. And they know that. Suicides cluster. When someone commits suicide somewhere, there'll be a bunch of people that suicide. If it's on the news every fucking night, suicide this, suicide, fucking every cunt would be suiciding. You've got the mental health problems, then you mix it in with suicide coverage 24/7. You're going to see a spike in fucking suicides. And the same with mass shootings. You cover the mass shootings all the time and the mentally ill, and there's plenty of them, get fucking wind of it and they start thinking it's a good fucking idea. There's a very fucking fine line to be tread between awareness and exacerbating the fucking problem. The media is the real fucking insidious thing here. The guns and the mental illness is fucking obvious, but the media is just fucking just as much to blame. So you look at the gun laws, you look at the mental illness epidemic, and then you also look at the fucking media, and it's a fucking recipe for disaster. Just those three things. Don't mention the fucking alcohol, the drugs, poverty, broken families, all this sort of shit fucking adds to it. But I would say those are the three big things. So that's the source, and how would I solve it? How would Le Boyle fucking wave his magic wand and solve the fucking mass shooting problems? Jesus Christ, how do you solve any fucking problems? I would not let the media cover mass shootings, for starters. I wouldn't let any of the shooters' photos be released or fucking name up there. I wouldn't give any of the shooters any semblance of fucking celebrity at all. They can just disappear into the abyss where they came from. That's where I would start. The next the next fucking thing would be to tackle mental health, and fucking God fucking knows that needs to be tackled. I don't mean medicated, I mean tackled from fucking the ground up. Where the fuck do you start there? People need to have some sort of hope. For starters, they need to have self-esteem. I think probably the biggest thing that would help with mental illness, and probably everything really, would be going back to like traditional family values. Like fucking just being raised by like two normal parents that are together and like fucking support you. I can imagine that would fucking change the world. Like, it wouldn't be 100% fucking successful, but growing up in a stable environment with two loving parents, that's probably going to help with a lot of mental illness. Most of the people I know are mentally ill, and most of those people did not grow up in a stable environment with two loving parents. The people I know that aren't mentally ill, stable environment, two loving parents. I know a few people, loving environment, two stable parents, who also ended up mentally ill, but fucking the percentages go way down. So that's where I would start. Everyone should just become religious. That's it. That's the fucking, except like fundamental. No, that's not the fucking answer. But definitely, I don't know how you fucking keep people together and get them to raise their kids in a loving household, but that would definitely help. And then the gun laws, well, fucking, I always tilt towards the government is eventually gonna turn authoritarian. They all do. There's not an example in history where the fucking ruling power didn't eventually turn authoritarian. So why would I trust the government? And if that's the case, then you probably want a way to fucking overthrow it, or at least be able to defend yourself. And people are like, oh, but they've got fucking jets and tanks and shit. I'm like, yeah, also the US Army couldn't fucking beat Afghanistan and they had sticks and stones. So I also look at that. So I can't imagine a fully armed American population isn't going to be able to beat their army. 110 they win. But maybe, I don't know, maybe you can you can stop selling fucking guns to kids and, I don't know, maybe the mentally ill. Or just if they turn up to the gun shop and they're drunk or they look high, maybe refuse them a gun. I don't know. I don't know what the situation is buying guns in the US, but I know quite a few of the listeners of this podcast have sent me pictures and they've got enough ammo and guns to literally take over Australia. They could invade by themselves and they'd take it over. But yes, maybe the access to guns can be tightened ever so slightly. Ever so fucking slightly. Anyway, I hope I fucking solved the world's problems with that one. That'll do for today. If you're enjoying the podcast, give it a share around, and I'll see you the fuck later.